Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here today. It's the early days of a busy Christmas season, and I know adding one more thing to your December calendar is a challenge sometimes. So we're grateful that you came to join us. And, this is the season of giving thanks and counting blessings. And what better place to be in Philip, South Dakota? It's a great place to live in a beautiful facility. And we built it with the cooperation of so many people that this just seems like the right thing to do today. So we're glad that you're here. I'm Vonda Hamill. I'm the director of the Investing in Rural Life Capital Campaign. I have loved this journey. It's been very rewarding. I appreciate many of the relationships I've built along the way. I see a few faces out here I've had some great conversations with, and I'm just going to really treasure this whole journey. It's been wonderful. Before we go too much further in the program, I have to apologize. Always have to apologize. In case I don't get the chance later, some of the donor signage has not been received. It is not installed. So the Phase 3 building, which is what we're focusing on today, has temporary signage up. So you can see the facility, you can see the space that you supported, and we'll get the signs up and get them, as soon as we can get them, we'll get them up. So I apologize for that. I'm joined today by a small group of people that are gonna just make a few remarks, and if we could give them our attention for a few minutes, that would be lovely. The first face is familiar, Roger Porch. Roger held a seat on the hospital board for many, many years and was the driving force behind the capital campaign for the hospital build 20 years ago. And once you've run a successful campaign once, you're gonna probably get asked to run another one. And so he did that, he stepped up. Roger is a great voice. He's a, what do you wanna say? What did we say, Jeremy, the other day? He's our voice of reason. He's our voice of reason. He's a calming force, he always has been, and so any part that Roger takes in anything is always a blessing. So Roger?
Thank you, Wanda. My gosh, after that introduction, I could barely wait to hear what I have to say. Thanks for coming, you guys. This is just really heartwarming to see you all here. It's been a heartwarming journey for all of us as we've gone through this, down this path rather. And here we are today, and so we're thankful for that. I want to quote Jefferson to begin with, and sometimes folks get weary of speakers that go on too long. I'm not one of those. Thomas Jefferson said, "The most valuable of all talents is that of never using two words when one will do." And so I hope I can adhere to that today. We'll try to be brief. And I want to be brief for a couple of reasons. One is, as I said, you don't want to spend a lot of time here, but the other is that you guys have a lot of hard work to do today. You have a lot of hard work ahead of you this afternoon. There are coffee and cookies, and you have to consume those. And if my wife does not like to bring cookies home, and so if there are any left for Vonda and Colton to take home, they're going to blame you guys. So you have to do that first of all, but most importantly, your job this afternoon is to tour this facility. Tour it slowly. Look at it methodically and meditatively and appreciatively. Look at it for what it is. It's not perfect. I'd be a liar if I said it was perfect, but it's awful good. And it's a reflection on a lot of work from a lot of people. And so for that, we're terribly appreciative. I want to look back just briefly. This today is a culmination of a journey. It's the end of this project. I don't believe it's the last project that Philip Health will undertake. As we look at healthcare delivery in rural areas, it's a difficult enterprise, always tough. I think acute care is changing and perhaps growing away from us a little bit with telemedicine, life flights, and good ambulance services. But long-term healthcare needs to stay close. And whether it's senior living or long-term care or assisted living, that hopefully we can keep close to us, close to home here in Philip. And so I look forward, and I think we'll see projects in the future. Then this project, we've talked about this at great length. Our memories are dim. We think it started in 2016 or 2017 with a study by the state of South Dakota that determined this area needed additional nursing home beds. And so we undertook that challenge under the capable leadership of Jeremy. And at that time we started. So one could say today's ending, 2016 or 2017 was the beginning. I would challenge that a little bit. I think the beginning was in 1998 or 96, 99 rather, when the board at that time looked at the hospital and they said, we need to rebuild that and we need to add on to it. And so they chose to do that. The question was, how do you fund it? And they learned about fundraising enterprises that would help with a pledge campaign, help with a capital campaign. And so they hired and we can't remember the name of the group, somebody can, but I can't. At any rate, we hired them, and they came. Our goal was $750,000. By the time the dust settled, we raised about $1.7 million. Shows the generosity and the willingness of the people in this community to step forward and help. That project was a great success, a huge success. And we partnered with USDA and West Central at that time on that project as well. So when this project came along, the groundwork had been laid. Everybody knew how to go forward. And so we hired Solutions for Fundraising. They came, they did a survey. It looked like we could raise $1.7 million. But as we looked at the project and what we needed, that $1.7 million became $1.9 million, 2.1. We needed more and more to meet our goals. And we did that. I had the greatest steering committee in the whole world, and the 2 or 3 of them are here today. I don't intend to recognize all of them, but they did great work. Asking people for money sometimes is hard business. You can do it, but you might receive a no, and that's painful. Kathy, you're sitting there nodding your head. She knows it's painful, and yet they persevered and went forth, and we made it. So when I think about the current campaign, over 300 people donated. That's a lot of folks in a small community. The people of Hockin County are generous and caring. We raised $2.87 million. That's a lot of money. And that was only a small part of the project, but that's a lot of money. And we raised that. When the Solutions for Fundraising came, they said, you will always be surprised by a donation from somebody, a large donation from somebody. Yeah, maybe. We had that. A lady sold a condo in Arizona for us. Another lady cashed in an IRA that was sizable for us. Another gentleman sold his brand, which brought a fair amount of money. That's a big deal to sell your brand. And he did that and gave us the money. We got a lot of cash and just things. And so when it all came together, we really had a great success. That wasn't all of it. There was a lot of work involved with everybody. And again, we had a nice partnership with USDA and West Central, and USDA will have some remarks here shortly. But they really stepped up. Without them, we wouldn't be standing here today. Would not have happened. Simply had to have them. I'm winding down, but I want to quote Churchill. He was a prime minister of England during the dark days of World War II. Think of that. He said, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And while what we went through was certainly not comparable to World War II, it was a battle. It was a battle, and there were lots of hard times and lots of failures. I can think of the failures. The bids that first came in were too high. The interest rates were too high. We had supply chain issues. Everything at one point seemed to be wrong. And many nights, I've told these folks, many nights I laid there looking at the bedroom ceiling wondering, what if we can't do this? Are we going to give the money back? Then what? Or can we scale down the project? No, we sold this project. Here's the visual image of the project we sold. We can't do less. And so we persevered. The board rebid the project. The bids came back acceptable. Interest rates fell. Steady and committed leadership was exhibited by Jeremy and the hospital board. Saw it through to the end. And here's maybe the best thing during perhaps the darkest day. I'm getting emotional about this. Jerry Crutch called and said, we believe in this project. What will it take? And Jerry and his directors came and met with us and did what he said. And with that, then, we were able to reach the end of that capital campaign, reach the end of this program. this project rather, and sit here today celebrating what we are looking at. And I am just so thankful to have been a part of it. My days are hopefully in the past. Vonda said something about another capital campaign. I don't think so, but it's been great. So just in parting, thanks a million for you guys. Be sure and look the facility over closely. There are lots of things you will love and just be so proud of all you've done for that. So thank you.
Can't get another Roger anywhere, I'm sorry. Next, we'd like to welcome Nikki Gronli. She is the U.S. State Director of Rural Development. She's traveled here from Sioux Falls to join us and share her thoughts.
Make sure we get that to the right height. So thank you for having us here today. South Dakota and many states have been continuing to see a decline in nursing home facilities. While the number of people continues to grow, we know this is a problem, and it's just so fantastic to see a place like this in a community like this happening. It means more and more Americans are going to be forced to consider new ways to get the kind of care once found almost solely in nursing homes somewhere else and not in their community. But communities like Phillip demonstrate their commitment to providing this critical need in our rural citizens right here at home. As Roger stated during the capital campaign kickoff, we in rural South Dakota have many things for which we are thankful. One of those blessings is access to good quality health care. Together, you raised nearly $3 million, making possible the beautiful facility we stand in today. The expansion and modernization of the Living Center brings quality health care to your deserving community. While rural development offers programs that touch on so many areas throughout the state, healthcare remains a top priority for us. Through our emergency rural healthcare grants, we help bring critical infrastructure like fire trucks, ambulances, and healthcare equipment to our rural communities. Our community facility loans and grants help make possible the growth and rejuvenation of places like the Scotchman Living Center. Our team of dedicated specialists like Dylan Tramp over there, give a wave, who helped your staff navigate the application process, remain dedicated to providing sage advice to ensure a positive experience. Rural development remains committed to rural health care. This beautiful facility will stand to serve as a vital asset to the community for years to come. We're excited to have the opportunity to help with this expansion project. Congratulations on reaching this milestone. You're a model for other communities, and as they look for ways to provide care, they're going to be thinking about Phillip, South Dakota, and what you've accomplished here. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Nikki. Next, we're going to hear from Jeremy Schultes. Jeremy's the CEO and the administrator for Phillip Health Services. He and all the entities that entails. He provided us great leadership during the project, worked very closely with the steering council as well as his board and the architect and later the construction companies, spent countless hours, time and energy dotting I's and crossing T's and getting paper where it belonged. And a project of this magnitude doesn't happen with somebody like that pushing the pedals. So, Jeremy?
All right, thank you, Vonda. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and celebrating with us today. We've got thousands of people to thank on this project. And yesterday, we met, Vonda, Roger, and I thought, man, how are we going to thank everyone? Because this was truly a community project. And our community isn't just the folks that live in Phillip, but it's the people in the surrounding area. And it's people in Pierre, it's people in Sioux Falls, like USDA Rural Development. So we've got just an amazing amount of support, an amazing amount of gratitude to the people that supported this project. So with that, I want to recognize some folks. I want to recognize Chamberlain Architects. I think Brad was unable to be here today, but Don, I think Don is behind the fireplace there. When we started this project, Don and I went to different places, Rapid City, Brookings, Sioux Falls, and we looked at newer nursing homes that we wanted to emulate and copy. And what I heard from the administrators is we did not like the construction process. And I thought, man, this is going to be work. We're busy, and this is going to be work. I will tell you, this project has been fun. It's been fun because Chamberlain Architects was good to work with. And I think it was also fun because Don Burns, our board chair, put countless hours into making sure that the project ran smooth. The other reason it was fun is because we had Mario Rangel and Mark Munoz, and I call them Bob the Builder, but our site superintendent, Bob. These are just, Rangel Construction has been phenomenal to work with, and I would do a project any day with you guys. Brad and Kelly did a remarkable job, as you can see. The colors, the stone, the architecture. What a neat facility. I'd like to think that we probably have the most well-designed, beautiful long-term care facility in the state. With that, I want to tell you a story, because each of us has a story that gets us to where we are. I know Cindy's probably got a story. Many of the caregivers here have stories as to why they're caregivers and why they do what they do. And these caregivers get to work in this beautiful space, and they get to enjoy it with the residents that we serve. And so I'm going to tell you a story about a guy named John. So I was going to school, went to school in Yankton, and I was going to school, and they make you do this thing called an internship. And they sent me to the hospital, they sent me to a nursing home, and I arrive at the nursing home, and they didn't know what to do with me. They're like, what do you need to do? What do you want to do? I said, I don't know, they sent me over here. So they teamed me up with this resident named John. I said, well, hi, John, how are you? What do you want to do? And he said, well, I farm. I want to go see my farm. And my car's outside, why don't you take me to my farm? So all right, let's go to your farm. So the staff, they helped me get John in the vehicle. He asked me to drive his car, and we go out to his farm. So this occurred over the summer. Every week I'd come to this nursing facility. It didn't seem like much of an internship to me, but I was taking John to his farm, and he was watching the crops. He's watching the crops in June, July, August. And it was a hot August day, and we were in Irene, South Dakota, if anybody knows where Irene is. And he said, Jeremy, I want you to stop at the cafe. Let's get an ice cream. I said, all right, let's do that. But John, you can't walk, so I'll just run in and grab an ice cream, and I'll be right back. So I go in, there's some people in there. I get the ice cream. I come out with 2 ice cream cones, and John is not in the car. John is standing up against the front end of his little Ford Explorer, and he's kind of hanging onto the hood a little bit. It made me real nervous. So I put the ice cream cones and the cup holders in the vehicle, and I'm like, John, you got to get back in the car. And he said, no. He said, I just want to tell you, thank you. I said, well, for what? He said, for letting me get a little sun today. I appreciate the sun. It's a nice day. And that really clicked with me, and I think that's what led me to do what I do in healthcare as I work with seniors, to work with people oftentimes when people come to us, it's a very difficult time for families. And to be a part of that process, whether it's when they're very young or when they're very old, our caregiving team, I believe, every day helps people see the sun and get a little sun. So I think this is a great place to get a little sun and enjoy one another, build relationships with our families, our residents, and our coworkers. So with that, and I know our staff, I see Michelle back there and Megan, Chris and Denise. I know some of our staff is a little bit shy. But with that, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for being a part of this project. Going through a construction project at the same time that we're having a global pandemic was not fun for folks. But you made this a joyful project. And I would do a project with you guys any day. I'd do it all over again. So thank you to the team. Thanks for bringing your A game every day, even when days are difficult. Appreciate you. I want to say thank you to our board of directors. Don, I think, Don Burns is behind the fireplace here. But I want to thank you for their vision in this project. And that vision occurred, what Nikki said was very true. This vision took place when long-term care was entering a very difficult period. And so there's been, I think, upwards of 10 facilities that have closed the last couple of years. So I think that there is sun on the horizon. I'm not sure if anyone listened to our governor's address this past week, but she's proposing to our legislature a 21% Medicaid increase. And I will assure you that's a heavy lift for our legislature, but those are much needed funds that will make places like this continue and to make them very successful. So I see Rita was here earlier. I'm not sure if Rusty, Larry Gabriel, Karen Crutch, I saw Karen earlier, she was Jerry. DJ Rush, Cindy Fifley, thank you guys for the vision that you had to make this project a success and to see it to the end. Thank you to all of our families. Guys, when we go through, if you've ever remodeled the house, you know it's not a real fun thing to do. There's a lot of dust, debris. Our families, our residents, there was, I think this wall right here was a bunch of windows. And we had residents and their families that were coming. They lived in those rooms for about 9 months with the windows covered up. And so thank you for your patience with us. Thank you, Denise Buchholz. Is Denise here? I got to tell you, Denise shows up every day with her A game, and she works with her team. She's a cheerleader for those team members. Megan Doolittle. These ladies work long hours. They're dedicated to make sure that they know all the intimate details about the residents we serve. And Megan does this thing called a care plan. Every day she's doing care plans. And she wants to make sure that the care is exactly where it needs to be. And I know that Denise is very supportive of her. Our medical staff, we've got great providers here. Physicians, physician assistants. They provide exceptional care. And our leadership, our department directors here, that show up every day to make sure that the lights are on, the bills get paid, and the care is where it needs to be. So it's a joy for me to be a part of Phillip Health Services. It's a joy to be in Phillip. Thank you guys for coming today. And with that, I will turn it over to Vonda. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I introduce our final speaker and our closer for the day, eventually, as soon as we get situated, we'll have a PowerPoint presentation just rolling on that TV, and it goes through a lot of these names that you've heard, who was on the steering committee, who's sitting on boards, if you're interested in that, and the people that kind of grind the wheels on the project. That will be playing shortly. Finally, we're going to have Denise Buchholz come up to the mic for us. Denise is the director of the Scotchman Living Center, and she and her staff have worked tirelessly and been very patient. And they made this place super shiny today, and so we're really excited about that. When you go to see the new portion, you can thank her and her staff for making sure everything was just so. Denise is also going to advise us on how she would like the rest of the day to progress. This is residents' home, and they are in-house, and so we want to be sure we respect that, and Denise will guide us in that.
All right, well, welcome everybody. I'll try to make this short, as you guys have all been here for a little bit now. So, as Vonda said, my name is Denise Buchholz, and I'm the director of the Scotchman Living Center. I've been the director here for almost 4 years now, and so as Jeremy had said a little bit, that has been through a global pandemic, as well as construction in 3 different phases. So, a lot of my shout outs today go to a lot like Jeremy, the people who have worked really hard behind the scenes over the last few years. So first off, I would like to thank my team. I would like to thank my caregivers. I know you guys are cruising up and down the hallway. Over the last few years, there is not another team that I would like to go through a global pandemic and construction with. You guys are local, hometown community caregivers. Each and every one of you is so important in making this place work. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. This would not be possible without caregivers like you guys. So please know that. My second shout out is to Brett Naiman and his team, and also to Ringo Construction. As Jeremy stated when we went through COVID, these gentlemen catered to a lot of my requests. They made special windows for us to take down during the daytime so our residents could see the sunlight. They were always helpful in moving furniture and taking down walls and helping us make sure that we could continue on giving the best quality of care. So I want to make sure I thank you guys for that. My next shout out is to Jeremy and the board of directors. Thank you for having this vision and for allowing us to move Phillip Health Services and the Scotchman Living Center forward throughout this next 50 plus years and updating our beautiful place to care for our community. And finally, I would like to thank the community. There's a lot of you guys here that don't get the thank yous that you deserve, all the volunteer hours, all the extra time you guys put into helping our residents, the beautiful ladies who decorated this lovely tree and all this place. Every single one of you is so important in our community to help us care for these people, our residents, to give them the best quality of life. And that is what long-term care is about. And you guys have all made this possible. The pharmacy, you guys always are giving us the medications we need to take care of these residents. Without everybody in this community, it wouldn't be possible. So I'd like to thank you for that. And then finally, as you guys tour the facility, we are full. We have 30 residents here. And so please be mindful and respectful of their personal space. Our residents currently reside in the hallway and from phase 1, memory care, and then back around the corner we have 5 residents in the final part of phase 2. Please feel free. The easiest way would be to go down this hallway behind me. That is where the new wing is opened up. Down that hallway are 12 rooms, or 12 beds, a bath area, a beautiful physical therapy gym. Please help yourself into there and to check it out. Also, we have a chapel space, a religious area, and so please check that out as well. And around the corner, we also have a beauty shop. So I want to thank everybody for coming, supporting us, being here. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Jeremy, Vonda, Roger, myself, or any of my team members. And I'd like you guys to officially welcome you to the opening of the Scotchman Living Center. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas.